Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So the other day I was watching this movie called Core. It takes place in this hypothetical world where the magnetic field of Earth is gone. Being a sci-fi movie, it uses science as reasoning for the events that are taking place. On first view, I thought this made no sense at all. What would really happen if our magnetic field went away? Turns out it's more impactful than you would think. I do believe the movie still went a bit off, so let's dive into the facts. This topic actually has so many interesting things to learn, and many things that scientists are still debating. I'm going to talk about the science behind the magnetic field, the probability that it'll go away, and the actual effects as per science, and how that compares with the movie. Wait till the end of the video with the bonus section about bad sources. Let's start by talking about why we even have a magnetic field. At the center of the Earth is a rock-solid iron core. It's approximately 10,300 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than the surface of the sun. Around the inner core, there's a liquid metal layer known as the outer core. I know, such a creative name. The layer of the liquid metal is less dense and has less pressure, so it wants to expand outward. Since the Earth is spinning about its axis, it produces whirlpools in this outer core because of something called the Coriolis effect.
Coriolis effect.
For those of you who don't know what the Coriolis effect, let me show you a little experiment. This experiment is going to demonstrate the Coriolis effect. This pen is going to mark the trajectory of the particles inside Earth. This is going to represent the spinning of the Earth. So, in Earth, the particles are expanding outwards in one direction, but let's see what happens to them in our experiment. So, as you can see, I moved my pen only in one direction as the particles move in Earth, but this curved my trajectory, so let's see that again in slow-mo. This is the same reason that when you look at storms, they appear circular. The pressure difference between the eye of the hurricane and the high pressure surroundings makes the surrounding air want to rush to the center. But because of the Coriolis effect, it curves it to make this whirlpool shape. In the case of the outer core, the pressure and the density difference between the outer core and the other layers of the Earth make it want to flow outwards. But this flow outwards gets spun by the Coriolis effect and creates whirlpools. These so-called whirlpools create electrical currents which are the basis for Earth's magnetic field. This explanation is very similar to the one given in the movie, so at least they got that right. But is it possible to lose our magnetic field? Yes. No. Well, maybe. In the last 150 years, the magnetic field has decreased by 10%, and magnetic north has moved around 1,500 kilometers in the past 100 years. We aren't sure why this has happened, but our magnetic field appears to be changing. Many scientists agree that this decrease is not that important, and if anything, we should be worrying about something called magnetic reversals. By examining ancient lava, scientists have figured out that the Earth's magnetic field reverses every now and then. So north becomes south and south becomes north. During these reversals, Earth's magnetic fields weaken significantly, and it's the closest we might ever get to fully losing our magnetic field. The last reversal happened 800,000 years ago, and many more have happened before that in the past. Earth's magnetic field has proven to hold up and restore past these events, but we aren't entirely certain. We shouldn't panic and start concerning ourselves over this, but we should know that it's not impossible. Mars and Venus both lost their magnetic field, but we still don't know why. Another possible case of us significantly weakening our field is if the South Atlantic Anomaly spreads. If you don't know what the South Atlantic Anomaly is, or SAA is, it's basically a weak spot in Earth's magnetic field. It's not drastically weak, but it's very noticeable. The effects right now aren't severe, but satellites are being sent to study Earth's magnetic field as part of the SWARM mission, to study its effects and causes. If this weak spot grows and weakens the field more, we might have a very weak magnetic field, but it might be very centralized. Now we're going to talk about the good stuff. Would we all die and have to send a team of stereotypical heroes to the center of the earth to magically fix everything? Simple answer, no. Long answer, well, it's complicated. The first big job of our magnetic fields is to keep away harmful charged particles coming from the sun, either through solar wind or solar flares. If Earth's magnetic field is weak, these can dip closer, which can affect satellites and make northern lights appear everywhere. These charged particles can take down stuff here on Earth as well. One big solar storm got past our magnetic field in 1989, and this took out power in some places for 12 hours. Without a magnetic field, even small storms, which are frequent, would have big impacts on electricity and electric devices here on Earth. Also, without the magnetic field, there would be more radiation, which could increase cancer rates. It might wipe out some species and increase in genetic mutation. One of the most unfortunate but controversial effects is the Earth losing its atmosphere. Scientists aren't sure if the magnetic field is responsible for keeping the Earth's atmosphere intact. Mars, for example, lost its magnetic field and its atmosphere was almost completely stripped away. But Venus, on the other hand, it has a decent atmosphere even without a magnetic field. If we do lose our atmosphere, it will end life as we know it, and chances of survival will be slim. Airplane navigation is also something that would be impacted. Right now, as we speak, we are making changes to airplane navigation to align with the magnetic field as it's changing. One example of how the changing magnetic field is impacting airplanes is the names of runways. Imagine for a second you're piloting a plane and you're coming in for a landing. You have to make sure your plane aligns with the angle of the runway. You can't manually maneuver the aircraft by eyeballing it, so here's what you have to do. On the lane, the name has the angle of the offset from one of the lines on a compass. The plane has a compass on board, so it gives a precise way to align the aircraft with the landing strip. Let me show you a demonstration. So over here, this symbol is representing my airplane landing strip. And this represents the compass on board the plane. So let's simulate what would happen. The pilot goes, he sees the sign says 29 degrees northeast. So to align his plane, he turns it till the compass reads 29 northeast. Then he goes in for a landing and he lands perfectly. But as I said, the magnetic field of the Earth isn't perfect, and it is changing. If the change is big enough, the lane name needs to be changed, otherwise the pilot will get the wrong info. Now, if the magnetic field changes, then the compass will show different than what's there. The pilot will read 29 degrees northeast. He'll turn to 29 degrees northeast, which is right about here, and he'll go in for a landing, but then it's not aligned perfectly and he might end up crashing. To update these names, they need to get accurate information about the Earth's magnetic field from satellites. But if the Earth's magnetic field goes away, this aligning system won't work and the airplanes will have issues landing. Flights might have to stop for a while engineers shift plane navigation to rely only on GPS or come up with some other solutions to fix this problem. This wouldn't result in airplanes falling and crashing down because they don't directly rely on the magnetic field to fly and already use GPS for their main navigation. So it looks like magnetic field is actually pretty important, but the movie got some stuff wrong and dramatized it way too much. But hey, it was pretty good. Anyways, thanks for watching, and you can always check my sources document in the description below and a link to my blog post on the subject. Please consider subscribing and giving this video a like. Bye! I came across this website called The What If Show. It said that the movie was correct and birds would come crashing down, but I checked the sources document and they said nothing about it, so be careful to check your information twice. Always go and see where that website got its information, and make sure you can get as many primary sources as you can.